I remember, I think a lot of people were quite surprised that there was a female manager
Mm.
in the industry. And I think that people sort of thought that she was, you know, because you do get this a lot, people say, oh, yeah, I'm a manager. And it's like they don't actually do anything,
Yeah.
like they just sort of want to hang around with the band and kind of look important. But like, what do they actually do? Well, I couldn't tell you, but obviously
Half,
that was,
half of them scam the band.
yeah, most of them, if not all of them, well,
Yeah.
nearly
Yeah,
all
I'm
of
being
them.
generous by saying half of them scam the band and half of them don't
Yeah.
know what they're doing.
No, absolutely. To find somebody who actually gives a crap about it
Mm.
and isn't making you pay absolutely, through the nose for the privilege is pretty rare, definitely. But I remember the first time that I was sort of talking to Mia about something. I remember how long it took to get through to someone at a venue when you were trying to book a gig. I remember saying I mean, it surprised me. I knew these people were sort of a lot of the promoters are in the venue barely ever or very busy and all this stuff. But I remember saying to her a few times, like, oh, how's it going? When she was booking a tour for us, because she booked tours. She did all of that horrible and tedious legwork for us, didn't she?
Mm.
And I remember her saying, well, so and so told me to phone back on Wednesday, and this bloke said that he'll be there next Thursday. And I was promised that this guy would be here on Monday, which is today, because I've been promised for 3 weeks that he would be here this afternoon at 2 p.m. And when I phoned there, they said, oh, that he's not there and they don't know when he'll be back in, and she was obviously she was trying to arrange the tour so that we weren't doing this all over the country.
Yeah.
Got
Mm.
to try and do like that
You
sort of
want to
thing.
work your way towards the next one and then the next one and the
Exactly.
next one and then kind of sort of circle back.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And she was obviously trying her to get everything, and she did fantastic. When you actually look at the I've still got some mum and dad's loft, the red flyers that we had done.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, on that, when you look at that list and you look at it on a map, you think that's really, like I've been in some like different bigger band since then, and they couldn't manage to do that. Do you know what I mean? We were doing this, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did it. But I just remember that that was the first time that I sort of realized that she was really like working for us, if you know what I mean. Like she wasn't taking no for an answer. She was really sort of, able to say to these people who are obviously used to being a bit, what's the word, like a bit special, like the venues are all sort of, oh yes, everybody wants us, everyone's in demand, yeah, you'll have to phone back next week, this sort of, like they're doing us a favor sort of attitude. And I just remember thinking like, wow, like there's really something a bit special about her, because like she's managed to get these people so she can sort of have a bit of a laugh with them. But if they ever stepped out of line, obviously, then she would tell them about themselves, to use a phrase of a friend of mine. And I just remember thinking that that was awesome, because you got these people that have obviously gave the impression, at least, that they thought they were better than everyone else, and that they were above the decency, rules of decency that you'd normally extend to any other human being. They just sort of seemed
Mm.
to think that they could do exactly what they wanted. And we were all just damn lucky if we ever got a phone call back, sort of thing. And she used to hold them to account, and she used to actually manage to get them to do what they said they would, and that's really hard to do. Like, I just remember thinking, well, I mean, I was raised like this anyway, but I do remember thinking, yeah, that this woman actually proves that there's no room for like, oh, it's because I'm a woman. Oh, but they won't, because, oh, well, she fucking manages. Sorry. And it
Yeah.
really
Good
inspired
point.
me, because as I say, I was already kind of, I was raised like that as well. Like there's absolutely no way that you can believe that you're in any way limited because you're female, you know.
Well,
I was just raised
the,
like that. But then she really man, she took it to the next level, and I was just like, wow, this like really really proves it. She didn't take any shit off anyone. She's like, I don't care who you are. You don't be disrespectful.
well, she wasn't mousy and quiet, and she was very direct and very driven.
Yeah.
And
She was also though, she wasn't just like serious and sensible. Like you can have a real laugh, and some when she got a promoter that wasn't like just a typical wanker. Some of them were fairly human, and she used to have a real laugh with them, and I think they used to have a laugh with her, and it was probably quite nice for them to have a change with chatting to a woman about booking a gig instead of just blokes all the time, because she used to laugh. She's just really. She had the business acumen of a man, but but you could have a real laugh with her if they were cool, if they were decent, if they like did what they said they were going to do, and they stuck to their word and things like that. Then they would build up a bit of a rapport with her, and the result was always good. A lot of
mm,
people used to say to us, a lot of other bands used to say to us, I remember, how did you get in there? Or like, how did you get through to them? And be like, I don't know, like a manager, like she did it, and they'd be like, fucking hell, like we spent 6 months trying to get through to him. But she used to just sort of
yeah.
just not give up, really, did she?
And she's so organized. So she'd have
Yes.
the book, all the papers, and she knew
Yeah.
exactly, oh, it's here somewhere, and she'll find it, and she'll be like, all right, so that's this is that. And she just,
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, I've seen that a lot with her, like all these kind of pages and books and things. She knows where everything is. It's just unbelievable. And it's like
Mm.
me, I have one piece of paper, and all I have to do is look after it. And then when someone says, right, where's that paper? I never see it again. Like, the one thing, and I'll be gripping onto it all the way home, like for dear life, like don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it. And then I'll get home, and then the next day when someone says, "All right, where is it?" I've tipped the whole place upside down. The whole place upside. Some days I've actually tipped the place upside down. It looks like someone burgled the place, and it never turns up. And I just have to say, I'm really sorry.
Like you say, she had everything written down. It wasn't just like, it was always like, oh, well. And this is what also used to work with these promoters and things as well. She'd say, no, no, I spoke to you last Monday because you told me to phone back on Monday. I spoke to you the Monday before that at 3:30 in the afternoon because you told me to phone you between 3 and 4. And you still weren't there. Like she had everything written down. And yeah, very, very efficient.
Like I've said to you, you've got like a sort of charisma about you. She's got that. She's got that too. Like you would be good in. You've got the personality at least to do that. You could call people and do that. I mean, like I got you to sort out the reels, right? For
Yeah.
Fear Inside and No Visible Scars. Like I wasn't going to call anyone up.
Yeah.
It's just a zero. Like, I'm not going to do it, and it's like someone has to do it, and it falls on you. And actually, without you and Mia, the whole thing would have been impossible because she handled that side of things really, really well, and you handled the other side of things. So when we went out together, this isn't about you, so I'll keep this bit short. But when we went out together, you handled the other things, that bandy stuff that had to happen, which I still wasn't going to do because I'm very quiet and reclusive, and like we really used you for that. Do you remember? It's always you. You talked to everyone. I just sort of stand next to you,
Mhm.
and we were all happy with that scenario. You love talking to people, and I
Yeah.
didn't, but I liked hanging out with you. So just I'll have a drink,
Yeah.
you talk to these people, the riff raff, whatever, and the hoi polloi, and it just really worked. And the funny thing was, right, as time went on, I tried to keep it relatively low that me and her were related because I knew
Yep.
that dickheads were going to say dickheady things. I think the good thing about it was, in the end, people were actually saying to her, "You wouldn't manage us, would you?" and all that. And I remember there was a point when she was considering managing a couple of others, but then she decided not to for whatever, for I know what reasons, but she decided not to. It was like that is a lot of work, and she didn't want to
Mm.
want
It
to do it.
is.
But I'm really, really proud of her and what she did for the band. She done a lot. None of this would have got done. She was helpful with, if you think about beckoning off the end and everything. All right, no
Hmm.
visible scars. It's like that was Martin Hooker, and we ended up in that mess. But when it come to like the
Yeah, but
next,
also, sorry to butt in, but she was the mouthpiece for the band with that when all that went down. She was the one who was you know like responsible for communicating with them. You did as well.
I did, you
Um,
know,
yeah, because you sort of had to. It was like a matter of they weren't going to listen to any one person. They had to get the message that there was more than one person
well,
saying
they
the
weren't
same
going to
thing.
listen to the band. They weren't going to listen to the
No,
band.
they weren't at all.
She'd done a lot for Rob and done a lot for Steve, and you know, and I just think that we were really lucky, and I think a lot of the good things that happened wouldn't have happened without her. And because I've got trust issues with people, I didn't want a stranger looking after the
Yeah.
band. So who else was going to do it? She's the only person in my circle, but in my family as well, who I would
Mm.
trust to do it and do it
Mm.
well. And I don't know, just really proud of her. I just love the fact that it went from people making fun to then seeing what she did and then saying, "Would you manage us?" And then
Yeah.
giving her the CD and saying, "Please don't say no now." That just made me chuckle because I was like, the tables had started to turn. And obviously, I'm not going to name drop anyone, but if you think about, I think you know who I'm talking about, who like was managing the other massive band. Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like he knew how amazing she was and all of that. And do you remember when he come and spoke to us backstage? Was it in Germany? All that, like that dude was very, very good at his job. And
Hmm. Yeah.
and if he knew, then that says a lot, I think.
She was told by that manager,
Yeah.
it's going to take a long time and you better go through these people and you
Oh
better do
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And by the time he'd finished like sending her his third message full of advice, she was like, it's done. And he was like,